Hi guys, so today I'll be showing you how to cut and sew inner dress. And inner dresses looks like this. They are basically done with all kinds of fabric, but preferably stretchy fabrics, okay? And they come in all shapes and sizes and different kinds of sleeve. But for today's tutorial, I'll be cutting something that looks like this using a bridal satin. Yeah, welcome back to my channel. So we'll start by the measurement. So this measurement is very important for making inner dresses. You find out that for this measurement, my client's bust is 43 and I added 3 inches as additional measurement, which gave me 46. So you bring out your client's measurement, then you add additional 3 inches to make an inner dress, especially when you're working on fabrics that does not stretch, like bridal satin as I'm using. So I go ahead to measure the length of my inner dress. I want it to be 46 as my client's preference, so you can use your own preference. Then I'll measure the shoulder, which is 16, but I measured 8.5. Then I'll go ahead to mark the armhole. This armhole is just an illusion. It's not like what I will use to close. I'll still retouch it. So here I just mark 8 inches to curve, just for marking armhole. I'm still going to retouch it. So this is the shoulder. I'll mark 3 inches. Here I will slant my shoulder, slant, connect it to the 3 inches that I marked before. So here I will I'll cut this armhole, and then I'll cut the borderline and then trim off the shoulder slant. So the next thing I'll do is I'll go ahead to now mark my bust point, which is 12. The bust point of my client is 12, the waist 17, and then the hip. From that 17, I mark 9 inches for the hip. Then I will take in my measurement, so 46. So I'm going to show you how to get it. So 46 divided by 4 is basically what I'm doing using my tape. So this is 46. You fold your tape into 2, which will give you 23 now. And then from that 23, just watch closely what I'm doing. In case if you don't have calculator, this is how to measure using your tape. And at the end of the day, you could just see what I got. So this is my 46. I'll add my sewing allowance, which is 1.5. I'll take in my waist. My waist is also 46. Add my sewing allowance 1.5 and do the rest all the way to the base of my inner dress, and then I will cut my inner dress. This is very simple method, and yeah, I will notch. Remember, you have to notch, especially when you're working with bridal satin clothes that are very delicate to handle. This notching helps you and guide you when you're sewing. Please, it is very important. So while I've done notching, I will now trim my neckline. So my neckline, I will do 6, both front and back. Why? Because this also determines the neckline on your main fabric. For this inner, I'm using this inner. My client is wearing this inner on Iro and buba, so that is why I did 6 inches as the neckline, because my Iro and buba neckline is 5 inches, so I did that. So my inner will have to be lower than the main fabric. So here I'll go on the machine to show you how to now sew. You start first by joining the shoulder and then you weave. I'm done joining the shoulder and weaving as well, and then I will turn the neckline using a bias, and I will show you how to do this. This is very simple. I'll start using the same color of my inner, which is white bias. So I will do this. So you just have to take your time be patient with it, and you start by sewing at this point and on that line. So here I'm done sewing, and I will now turn. I'll gradually turn. So just watch what I'm doing and you will definitely understand it. This is very easy. I'll trim off this place because of the bulkiness, so that when I turn it, it will not be as bulky because it's double there. That's the bias is double. That's why I trimmed it off, so that it will not be bulky when I turned it this way. So I'll gently stitch, and please, as you're stitching, make sure you stitch neatly and straight. You know how you sew your straight sewings to make it come out very straight and neat. You don't just sew it anyhow, so that it doesn't come out rough on the other side of the inner dress. So by this point, I will join my sides, my seam allowance. Remember, I gave it 1.5, so I will use 1.5 to close the sides. So you measure. If you're a beginner, you just measure slowly, gently. As you're sewing, you measure, you mark, and then you sew. So because this notching, you could see what this notching helps you. It helps because this fabric can move, so the notching guides you. So now I'm done sewing the sides. The first thing you do is to iron where you have sewed. And I sewed and I weaved. So you first of all, you iron thoroughly, iron with steam. Very, very important. This makes a very huge importance. I'll trim off the down part and I will fold the base. So now I'm done. I'm done sewing the neckline out. This is now me ironing. Now at this point, I want to show you something. You iron this side and make sure that the seam on the inside is facing one side. That is why you could see how I'm ironing it. You make sure that the seam is facing one side, and then by the time you're done ironing it this way, you can now gradually pick it like this and then iron properly. This is very important. It gives a very neat finishing. It looks well pressed when you do it this way. Okay, especially when you're not working with an ironing wedge, you know, this ironing foam wedge, then this is the way you have to iron it. So now I'm done doing the both sides. I'll go ahead to now retrim my armhole. So this is me trying to measure to see that all my measurements are in order. So my shoulder is 16. I will mark that exact 16. I'm not going to mark 16.5 for that because it's an inner dress. So I'll mark 16 exactly, and I'm going to now remark the armhole. So I'll be using 7.5 from the shoulder to now mark my armhole. I'm going to still show you how to get this measurement. Okay, so I use 7.5 to now mark my accurate armhole. Like I told you before, I was going to remark it. So this is me now marking it. This is what my client will wear. All right, and I'm done marking the accurate armhole that I want my client to wear, and I will go ahead to use bias to cover it just like I did on the neckline. So now I'm done. You could see my seam allowance, how it went. All of them went one side. Okay, I'm going to just show you. These things are things that makes your sewing to look neat. The way you join, the way you iron, the way you sew, everything, how everything have to go one-sided, not this one going this way. Everything is what contributes to making your outfit look well pressed, well finished, and neat. On my next video, I'm going to be showing you how to sew the iro and buba that I'm going to be using this inner dress to. My clients will be using this inner dress to wear. So check out for my next video where I'll be showing you how to join the hero and buba. And this is how, guys, this is how to do an inner dress. It's very simple. All you need is carefulness, well ironed, great measurement, and that is it.